Grim bloke. Yeah. And then, yeah, bro. Yeah. You bruv. In it. Grim bloke. Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck into the North Pole and got picked up in a Hyperborean DeLorean. They said they knew I was a Webster Merriam historian, mastered a numerical Gregorian, the hysterical mystic, no more than a Pythagorean, conspiracy theory Ethereum, in the etheric fear realm. I thought they were gonna take me to the crematorium in their Hyperborean DeLorean. Tested me on my Sumerian, Shakespearean, knew I was a numerical vegetarian, Aquarian, that I knew about the Tartarians, barbarians, Mars radium, aliens. Salt of the earth, solution Selenian. Spent the night in a Hyperborean chamber. I looked around and thought, bruv, who hired the painter? Hyperborean memoriam, auditorium, all cause I got picked up in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Introducing
Welcome back, ballers. Can you guys hear me okay? Thumbs up in the chat.
Invisible diamond minerals, crystalline and swimming pools, interdimensional realms of scrapping Catherine, Bahamas, Azores, Atlantis shores, mountains, temples, marble floors, sea floors, treasure and cities lost.
Thank you, Coffee.
Yeah, bruv, in it. Oh, sphinxes, pyramids and minotaurs, fruit grown in grove, luxuriant. In it. Inhabitants intelligent, closest seen to perfection. The whole experience, heaven to them, polar aurora, horizon beyond them. Flattened sky, lake of fire, core and flora, but bright comets, tornadoes.
We started in just a second.
Not forbidden, thought expansive, places massive. In it. Yeah, bruv. In it. Oh. Just hanging around.
Happy Moon Day, everybody.
Yeah. Telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Grim bloke. Jack bruv.
What up, fading the public? That's what we do over here.
Just hanging out around. Oh, Jack bruv. 888892. If you didn't know, now you're forever exploring it interdimensional. Historian, oratorium. Just hanging around telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean.
Look who's hanging out with us.
Just hanging around. Jack bruv. Grim bloke.
Welcome back, ballers, to another episode on the Ball Don't Lie channel. Thank you guys very much for joining and tuning in. This is going to be kind of sporadic. I don't know. This is something I spent a lot of time on last night putting together because there was just this whole hunting theme that kind of hit my mind with regards to, you know, what's still buzzing in the news about Charlie Kirk. And shout out to Decoding with KODI. I had a chance to catch up on his latest video with regards to it. He did a fantastic job with all of his fire connections. That's not the direction I'm going with this one, but I just want to shout out KODI, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, brother, with Rambo. So make sure to look out for that link. Same time as always, 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, Central Time, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Fading the Public says, what's up? You know it. Yep. So once again, as you guys know, you know, this whole page is about Fading the Public, just like a lot of the other channels I'm blessed to be connected with. So let's dive into it. There's a lot to cover today, you guys. I wanted to get this out hopefully before my wife gets home from work. You know, I think it's important to make sure that you're allocating time to your family, especially for her supporting me with what I do. I know it's not easy, so shout out to my wife. So I guess first question. I don't know if any of you guys are gamers out there, but I'm not sure if you guys can catch on to kind of the play on image here of Scavenger Hunt, but it's from a video game called what's it called? Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark. It's an N64 game, a first-person shooter game. And really quick, let's see. Yeah, I need to get it caught up with KODI's vids. Work has been crazy busy and with travel. I feel you on that, man. I'm fortunate enough to where I don't have to travel much with my slave job. But you guys got to keep in mind, I do have a full-time job on top of all of this. So it's challenging to manage keeping content out, building the slides, images, decoding the sports for my Patreon and winnable pages. I'm going to share with you guys the biggest win of the night yesterday with a particular player. But I have to allocate time to this because it's very important. It's very important for people to see this. For those that are new to the channel, I don't know how many of you are there, but you know, my name is Ball Don't Lie for a very sincere reason. Think about ball, the evil entity. Think about how practically every single sport involves a ball, a soccer ball, a football, a baseball, a golf ball, a tennis ball, etc. So naturally, ignorant people are going to give me hate for that, where they know about ball, the evil entity, but and they think that I'm an evil entity to support ball. No, I'm here to expose the truth about what's going on, and I'm here to ask questions. So this video is dedicated to asking more questions and showing some of my findings, okay? And I strongly encourage you guys, please, share your insights, share your findings, ask your questions as I take you on this little scavenger hunt, so to speak. So without further ado, we will get started. So just notice the images here, the POW, the shooting stories, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, America, red, white, and blue, same colors as the NFL, same colors as Turning Point USA, etc. So what I was referring to was there was a player last night by the name of James Hunter Renfrow who plays for Charlotte. Okay. The Carolina Panthers, okay, based in Charlotte. And what happened shortly before the news story about Charlie Kirk? There was a stabbing in Charlotte, right, on the train, which is interesting because Rambo's been talking a lot about the train crash that happened. It's a whole different thing. But once again, we are in the year of plane crashes, train crashes, car crashes, helicopter crashes, etc. But reeling it back in, what are the odds that Charlie Kirk's middle name is James? Yeah, fading the public. Market crashes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. What are the odds that Charles's middle name, Charles Kirk, is James? If you guys haven't seen my last live stream, we did impromptu with He Got Game and Scripted Reality. Please make sure to go check that out, you guys. We talked a lot about the ring. Okay, I got so much hate. I've never seen so much, so many views / so many comments when I asked the simple question: how does his ring finger move from his ring finger or how does his ring move from his ring finger to his pinky? And it just blows my mind, the comments that have came my way. But there's a lot to be said about the ring. And think about the movie The Ring. Scary movie, right? My point is, please make sure to check that out. You will not be disappointed. Back to the topic. There's a wide receiver by the name of James Hunter Renfrow. Keyword on the name Hunter. Why does that matter? A number of reasons, okay? A number of reasons. First being, for those of you guys that don't know, Charlie Kirk has been on a tour. He, more often than not, goes to college campuses. More often than not, his audience are younger people that are in college or students. And he was speaking to a guy by the name of Hunter the moment he got hunted down by a hunting rifle. Okay. And because of that, to me, that was the code on the Patreon and winnable pages last night. I was just like, oh my God, what are the odds that Hunter scores a touchdown for Charlotte, where you had the stabbing story? Shout out to Decoding with Cody. Once again, think about that. Charlie, Charlotte. Charlotte is the female name for Charlie. Okay. And this guy just so happens to have the same, or his first name is the middle name of Charles, and his middle name is Hunter, right? I don't need to repeat myself. I know I do that sometimes, so I apologize. So not only did Renfrow score one touchdown, plus 500, you guys, it was plus 500 in the sports betting world for him to score a touchdown last night. Meaning you bet $100, you win 500. You bet 10, you win 50. He ended up scoring 2, you guys. Okay. Oh, hey, Decoding with Cody. What's up, dude? Hey, man, let me know in the chat if you want to jump in here. I can send you the link if you want to join the live. But yeah, no, I've been talking about you, man, watching your last video. Yeah, Carolina, also a form of Charles. Fantastic. I mean, Cody, I know you were trying to count how many Charlies that were going on with your video, and even I had trouble. Like I eventually lost count. That's how many there were. So phenomenal job as always. But Hunter Renfrow didn't have one plus 500. He had 2. People sent me winning tickets last night at plus 1,800, plus 2,000. I had a buddy of mine that's on my Patreon that put $2 down on Renfrow for 2, and he won $36. Imagine if he made it $20. $20 down would have earned you $360, you guys. Besides the point that I'm not trying to promote sports betting. What I'm trying to do is emphasize the odds of these things happening. And with working with people like Cody, who says he can jump on for a bit. Okay, hold on a second, brother. Let me just copy the link. I'm going to send it over to our Discord. Okay, brother? I just messaged you the link, so I'll keep an eye out for you, Codes. Thank you. But once again, you guys, the point of this presentation is to show you how knowledge pays, right? I have a whole different, little series that I do every once in a while to showcase why we had a winning day. And it does have to do with gematria, but in this particular case, like Cody said last night in his video, very, very little gematria involved. Just knowing the names of these people and what's going on, right? So Renfrow scores 2 touchdowns, not just 1, but 2, which is extremely rare, especially for players like Renfrow. Unless you're Saquon Barkley or something like that gets in twice a game, it's very rare for for one player to score 2 touchdowns. Yeah, shout out Maggie. God bless y'all. Oh yeah, not joking. It's in the house. Coffee girl. Yeah, good to see everybody. Appreciate it. We'll keep it moving. So like I already kind of recapped, once again, you guys, think about this. Charlie Kirk was being interviewed or being asked a question by a student by the name of Hunter, okay? And as news broke, 33 hours after the fact, they uncover the rifle and all that stuff. That's a whole different conversation. Oh, fading. Okay. All right. I finally got it. I finally put it together. I am not going to give away what we're on tonight on the Patreon, but Bren, thank you so much for sharing your findings, because I don't know if you've had a chance to go look at the notes, but I'm looking forward to tonight. So anyways, once again, let me stay on track here. So Charlie Kirk is talking to Hunter, and he gets hunted down by a hunting rifle. You guys see this? It's a Mauser 18 Savannah, and it is primarily used for hunting. And now we got Codes in the house, everybody. What's up, Cody?
What's up? Can you hear me?
How you doing, brother? I can hear you.
Sweet. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, thanks for jumping on, man. It was really nice to see you pop up in the chat. I pretty much opened up talking about your video, 2 days ago. Phenomenal work, man. Seriously.
Yeah, and since that video, I found out that Carolina is a form of Charles too. I didn't even know that. So literally,
Charlotte, North Carolina, char.
Yeah, it's literally Charles all over it. And think about it. You have Charleston, South Carolina, where Freemasonry was founded.
Oh, shit.
And you have
Charlotte,
North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So they really have something big about Charles in those two states. So it makes complete sense why Hunter. And it's funny, before yesterday when I was putting some of my bets together, I was looking for the names Robinson, Hunter, and Kirk. And of course, I brought up to you that Tyler, yeah. And I brought up to you that there was no Kirks. Of course, there's a Kirk Cousins and a Christian Kirk, which would have been perfect, but they were out. Well, it kind of makes sense that they were out, right? Because Charlie Kirk got taken out, so neither of them were playing. So I was like, let me look into Hunters. And then I saw Hunter Renfrow. And then like right after that, we were talking and you mentioned to me Hunter Renfrow. And I was like, yeah, I already got him in one of my parlays. I figured, it was and the reason I had him really was because he played for Carolina. As soon as I saw Hunter on Carolina, I was like, wow, so this is a perfect riddle. And they're playing the Cardinals, which goes to they're going to have the funeral for Kirk in Arizona. So
and the game was in Arizona, and the game was in the stadium where the funeral is going to be held.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like the funeral will be in State Farm Arena. Last night's game was in State Farm Arena, and James, right? You've done a lot of work on the name James. So you have Charles James.
Do you know the shooter's name is James too? The shooter's middle name is James too?
You've got to be kidding me, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah, it came out. His middle name is James.
Oh my God, dude. This goes back to He Got Game. He's been all over this LeBron James, King James stuff going on. Let's not forget that the King James Bible was founded in 1611, and LeBron James is on the doorstep of recording his 1,611th regular season game all time. We don't know exactly what day that'll be. He could sit out on a game because of rest or injury, but I've just been encouraging people to make sure to go check those things out. My last video, the live I did on Saturday night, was called The King of the Ring. And He Got Game. The only reason I connected with him was because he found your work. So,
I need to connect with him too. Yeah. I'd like to have him on. I'd like to have him on a stream too, because with his knowledge of wrestling, I think we could really, because this is all tied to wrestling too. Again, you were mentioning how you said that the funeral is going to be in State Farm Arena too.
Yeah, in Arizona. Yeah, the same stadium where last night's game was played when Hunter Renfrow scored his 2 touchdowns. That is where his funeral will be.
Well, you know what immediately comes to mind that I was actually planning a video on possibly tonight or tomorrow? State Farm, like Charlotte's Web.
Oh my God, dude. I just thought of State Farm. I titled this video Scavenger Hunt. kind of like
Yeah.
farming and hunting, you know? But yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
a great point, dude.
I've already proven. I've already did a date measurement from the release of the original Charlotte's Web movie. Guess who the guy who directed the original Charlotte's Web movie? Guess what his name is?
Well, I'm guessing it's either Charles or James at this point.
It's Charles. And he was born in Utah.
Oh, geez, Louise.
And
Wow.
if you measure from the original release of that movie to the death of Charles Kirk, it blows your mind, man. Just look at the gematria of Charlotte's Web and you measure from that to the death of Kirk. It's absolutely perfect. Like that's why the fact that they're holding this this funeral in State Farm. this is the riddle. It's all about Charlotte's Web. And remember, going back to wrestling real fast, a few days before this happened, I brought up to you that the WWE had brought back in Chicago, where Kirk is from, they brought back this girl who hadn't been in the WWE for over 10 years, the wife of another Chicago wrestler, CM Punk. Her name is AJ Lee. Well, what did she wear on her shirt? A spider web that says "Love Bites."
Yep.
Like, this is what brought it all together. I just found this out like an hour ago. I was talking with Derek, and this whole Charlotte Web thing is clearly connected. And so hopefully I'm still looking for more connections, but I was thinking about doing a video on that tonight. But it's crazy that you just gave me the idea that this is all connected to the farm, like the farm in Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, State Farm Arena. Shout out to Maggie. I just wanted to post her comment here. Julia Roberts is in the Charlotte's Web remake. Makes me think of the name connections with you. We now have Robert Francis Prevost as the new pope. A lot to be said about that.
I'll have to look into the new Charlotte's Web. I didn't know there was I wonder how recent that is.
Yeah, I don't either. But just think about the word rob. A lot of robberies involve a gun, right?
Yep.
Robbing. But yeah, leave the world behind for sure. Oh, okay. So Maggie's saying that remake was in 2006. So we're definitely going to have to follow up and take a look at that for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, the original Charlotte's Web came out in 1952, October 15th. So literally one day after Charlie Kirk's birthday.
Oh, okay. So October 15th.
Because he's born October 14th. Yeah.
But 1952, that's interesting, considering that we talked about this. The Lions, Detroit, beat Chicago yesterday with 52 points. Right?
Yep. And 1952 was the last time we had. 1952 was the last time we had a king die.
Oh, man. Almost sounds like King Charles III might be short-lived. Who knows?
I really think this is what this. I really think that's what this is all about. It's again pointing to his demise at some point. I don't know if that's going to be this year or in the next 2 years, but I think in the next 2 years for sure.
And don't forget, you were talking about Christian Kirk, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned Christian Kirk. Well, Christian McCaffrey of the 49ers, he scored a touchdown yesterday on the Pope's birthday playing against the Saints. Christian scores against the Saints on the Pope's birthday. See what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
no gematria needed. Boom. And that was the first time he's scored since the last time he was in the Super Bowl. Because, he's been injured and stuff like that. So something to keep in mind there. But yeah, we were just recapping once again, you guys. Charlie Kirk was being interviewed by a student named Hunter as he was hunted down by a hunting rifle. Okay. This presentation is titled A Scavenger Hunt, right? And I'm not a hunter by any means. I've shot guns before, but it's just me. I don't have the heart in me to put a bullet in an animal, But It's clearly a very popular hobby, or I don't know, sport, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I live in Texas now, so it's a big thing out here. But my point is that when we think about that Charlotte stabbing in the next story, and then we have Charlie being shot in the next story, it immediately made me start thinking about hunting, right? Because hunters typically have a gun and a knife on them when they're hunting. Okay. So it's this whole shot and stab connection between these two stories. And like you pointed out, one of the last posts that Charlie Kirk put out was about that Charlotte stabbing story, right, in the neck. So for another one for you, Cody, this is one of those examples where it's like, oh my God, man, like if this kind of hit me a little bit before, I would have said we should have looked at DK Metcalf yesterday. Because look at this. Look at this. New York Post posted this yesterday, early morning. We're talking, 32 minutes into the morning, that the Charlotte train attack, the video, it reignites fury over withheld footage of Austin Metcalf killing. And you can think about like a calf, right? Like shooting a deer, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, DK Metcalf scores a touchdown to start the season, and it just so happens to be Aaron Rodgers' historic touchdown where he passed Brett Favre in all-time passes thrown, right? Going back to Green Bay, right? And it just so happens that Aaron Rodgers, he enjoys hunting. He's made that very public. That's public information. Aaron Rodgers enjoys hunting and considers himself a bow hunter. A bow hunter, huh? Okay. And it's an art form. So I just want to include some screenshots here for people to see that even back when he was on the Packers, here he is out shooting practice or hunting. Now he's into bow hunting. And this is a complete shout out to you, Cody. You said this either last week or the week before about packing heat. Think about the Packers. When you're packing heat, like that's a very common phrase.
Yeah.
And I like this image too, because the E in heat represents 3 bullets. But yeah. So I don't want to get too far along. Like you want to, and we have 38 watching right now. My goodness. Yeah. Did you have anything else you want to add with that so far?
I mean, just that phrase, I've thought about that with the Packers for a while, but I never really shared it. Just like how the Packers probably does have a super huge connection to shootings and stuff like that. Considering we also get a lot of shootings in Wisconsin. Think about it.
Well, and think about a lot of events. Home of the Bucks, right? The buckshot. That's all about hunting. Once again, green and yellow is kind of a color of nature, isn't it? The yellow sun, and the trees.
This makes me think a lot of the buck
moon,
the buck stuff which would also tie back to Leave the World Behind with the buck that's on the front of it, and don't forget, right now
we're talking on a Monday named after the moon, and that's what a lot of my plays tonight on the Patreon are about. It's about the buck moon and the Bucks. Yep. Fading the Public. Shout out Bren. He helped me out with that one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the next tomorrow and on the 17th, don't forget, we have a huge FOMC meeting where they're going to probably cut interest rates. So this interest rate stuff, this money stuff is probably coded into all this as well, because remember back in July, all those deaths I tied to the Federal Reserve, the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, the death of Hulk Hogan, the death of Ozzy, they were all in a row and they were all tied to the Federal Reserve. And now here we are coming up just 2 days away from the interest rate cuts. And this could either send the markets going crazy, or this is going to be some sort of this could be the beginning of the end for the markets. So that's why I'm thinking we're talking about bucks, money. It'll be interesting to see how this Charlie thing, because somebody, I think on your last stream mentioned it, the other guy that was on with you, he mentioned how he got shot in the neck, which is your freedom of speech. He got shot in the neck, in the throat.
Yep.
And the new money system will probably be blockchain. You're chained to the block, which means you're not free. You're like a slave. So
great point.
And let's not forget Charlie Kirk. Every time he did his show, it was endorsed by Bitcoin.com. Just go watch his shows.
Just like how Erica
like his
Kirk was plugging TPUSA.com and make sure to sign up and donate and
Yeah. In fact, I watched a few of Charlie's things, and he's a big advocate of gold investing and Bitcoin. So this is definitely, I think, another connection to the money. Hey, Cooper.
Yeah, he's just been chilling on my lap. I think he's getting a little warm, so let's put you down, bud. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Copper. But like, think about green money. Wisconsin, home of the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks, green, right? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, this is for sure not only a hunting ritual that I'm kind of pointing out here, or at least just the alignments that I'm seeing. I don't have all the answers by any means, but yeah, it definitely ties into shooting down the currency. Oh yeah, there you go. The buck stops here, Maggie says. I love seeing these phrases like this because like it all comes together.
Yeah,
kind of like last night. Liar, liar, pants on fire. When I saw that, I chuckled.
Right. Back once again, he's in the chat. He says, I did want to mention this too. It connects to the frequency stuff because he got shot. He was a voice, right? Like he was a voice for. He was a speaker and he was a debater. You use your voice to communicate frequency.
Right. Yep.
And this happened just after that huge.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying this happened just after that huge frequency ritual in the NFL. And with that first game of the season, and then this happens right after that. And then, we find out he gets shot in the throat, right? While he's speaking, literally, as he's speaking. So lowering the vibration, your voice, your throat, should look more into the throat chakra.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That's very important for sure. And I DM'd you on Discord about it, with you talking about the Hertz frequencies and Rambo chiming in about Mahomes' ohm, right? Ohm being a frequency skill set, essentially, right? To utilize vibration. Sure enough, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts both scored last night. So, well, once again, no gematria needed there. Like, I'm kicking myself for that one too. It was like, with what you bet on, what are the odds that Mahomes, Ohm, and Hurts both score? And sure enough, they did. So
yesterday was so interesting. I got a lot of my calls right as well. I told you about the 3 or 4 I got right that were pretty. The Hunter Renfrow one, but it was all just about names. It had nothing to do with really numbers. So it was.
Right.
It was interesting to see that you can just literally use their names and the events that are happening to kind of see what's happening.
So keeping it moving here, Cody, I'm so glad that you were able to hop in on this, man, because a lot of this presentation had to do with what you've been working on and what Rambo's been sharing, but mainly more this presentation geared towards your stuff. Bow hunting, right? We're talking about how Aaron Rodgers enjoys hunting, and he has an interest in the art form of bow hunting. Well, I decided to do a quick search on who are some of the most famous bow hunters that are out there. Fred Bear. You and I literally had a conversation about Bear maybe, a month ago?
Yeah.
Right? The Bear. But look, the second one, Saxton Pope, one of the most famous bow hunters include pioneer Saxton Pope, who popularized the sport, and record breakers like Chuck, Chuck, kind of like Charlie. Isn't Chuck? Hold on a second. Isn't Chuck another nickname for Charles?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. The first to achieve the North American Super Slam, et cetera, et cetera. But what are the odds, you guys, that bow hunting has a Grand Slam match with government and White House?
Huh. Yeah, that is interesting.
My jaw hit the floor. The moment I typed in bow hunting, just because I know the numbers of White House and government, I was like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, that's super interesting there.
Another notable figure is Brenda Valentine. That's funny. Going back to the love themes we've been talking about for quite some time. But so we got that one. And then now, yeah, go ahead.
Other guy's named John Eberhardt.
Oh, jeez Louise. Oh my God. Yeah, if I had more time to kind of really dissect everything, I put a lot of time in this last night, but it would have probably taken me days to put some. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a part 2 on this, but just unbelievable, man. I guess another thing I'm going to go back to this slide really quick. The one thing I didn't touch on was, think about a buck shot when you shoot a calf or a deer or whatever. I was looking more into the science of hunting, and ideally, it doesn't surprise anybody, but like you want to hit the calf or whatever, kind of pretty much right in the center of the forehead. That way it doesn't suffer essentially. But if you miss and you hit the animal anywhere else in the body to where it's not moving, the next step is the exsanguination, which is the action of draining a person, animal, or organ of blood. And that usually involves a knife, right? So I just want to emphasize that. Like, think about, in other words, the animal is in anguish. It's in sincere pain. So the next thing you do to get them out of pain is this process, which typically involves a knife in the throat, right? So I want to make sure I didn't overlook that.
And then that girl in Charlotte was stabbed in the neck,
Exactly. So. Just like Charlie was shot in the neck, and blood's flowing out of his neck, right?
And George Floyd had the neck thing too, so it's definitely the neck.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Trump saying, "Oh, I can't breathe, and then that became the slogan during COVID, where everybody couldn't breathe because of the what. And those that were even healthy with the mask couldn't breathe. Hard to breathe. So keeping it moving here. And a lot of this, Cody, I'm telling you, like, really stemmed off of me watching your video last night. So we talked about the Austin Metcalf killing. Don't forget that was a stabbing in the heart story earlier this year, and it took place in Texas, right? But his last name Metcalf, and then you had DK Metcalf score a touchdown last night. We talked about how Hunter didn't score 1, but he scored 2 touchdowns, bro. That was like plus 2,000. It was 1 touchdown was plus 900 before the game. So huge value there, but staying on topic, when I looked at the footage of this stabbing story, I don't know if you watched the whole thing. There's a lot to be said about that video. It's very bizarre, but they show a guy standing right in the middle of the walkway, and he's wearing a Cowboys hat. It's kind of hard to see it here in this image, but I just thought that was interesting. You think about Cowboys. I mean, they're hunters, essentially. They always have a gun or like a, pistol on their hip, things like that. But we're going to dive into this really quick. Notice too, after, what's his name again? DeCarlos Brown. So like Cody pointed out, he stabbed her 3 times in the throat. Then you have this guy right here, wearing his Cowboys hat as DeCarlos Brown is walking, not to him, but just walking in his pathway. But there's also a scene where he eventually takes off this orange or red sweatshirt. And he takes it off, right? Takes off the sweatshirt. And it looks like he kind of wraps up the knife or whatever in the sweatshirt. And then now he's standing here with the t-shirt. And I was like, And he's facing away from the camera. But you can see clearly that under his shirt, his sweatshirt, he's wearing a Detroit Pistons shirt. Okay. And immediately I thought of Skull and Bones, because I've done things about the Detroit Pistons specifically in Skull and Bones, and I'll show forth in a minute. But you and I were talking about this too, bro. Yesterday was 14/9, and Renfrow scores 2 touchdowns on 14/9. And it just so happens that Hunter Renfrow was the 149th pick of his draft. And DeCarlos Brown equals 149. Okay.
Yeah. That when you shared that 149 draft pick with me, I was immediately like that. And that was like just a cherry on top, but that was perfect.
Yeah, it was. And notice that he was drafted by, originally, he plays for Carolina now, but he was originally drafted by the Raiders. One of only 2 teams, and ironically enough, tonight, the Raiders are playing the same day on Monday Night Football as the Buccaneers. So the 2 teams in the entire NFL that represent Skull and Bones are playing tonight. But we're talking about the Raiders right now because Hunter Renfrow was drafted by the Raiders, who have the Skull and Bones logo. Okay.
Did he play for Clemson too?
Yeah. So he was drafted from Clemson.
That's in Carolina as well. So
there you go. Hometown. It goes back to Carolina. But to get more into the Skull and Bones connection here, look at this. This is the reason why when I see the Detroit Pistons, I think of Skull and Bones. It was I think it was 2 years ago, maybe last year. I think 2 years ago. and dude, you and I have been talking about the Detroit Pistons with all our Donnie Darko stuff. You know what I mean? Darko Milicic drafted by Detroit, etc.
And I already showed the very first thing we showed. Remember, was the birthday that this happened. It was happened on the birthday of the guy who played the rabbit.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And he's from Detroit.
Yeah.
But notice this. Did you notice that DeCarlos Brown has 3 out of 4 match in the base ciphers with Skull and Bones?
Yeah, I did see that, but I mean, that's a good point to bring up for sure. I didn't add it in my decode I had before, but I could have added it. But yeah, how perfect, huh?
Right, because Skull and Bones is also known as the Brotherhood of Death. And this is their logo, the skull and crossbones, the Raiders with the crossing swords. And don't forget that Renfrow was drafted by the Raiders. Okay. The stabbing took place in Charlotte, and the suspect just so happens to have practically a perfect overlap with Skull and Bones. So we got that one. Next here, and we're getting fairly close to the end. But when I saw Pistons, it made me think of pistols. It's 1 letter off from pistols, right? I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk was shot by a pistol or a rifle or at all. I'm just saying, with the gun themes, the stabbing themes, the hunting themes, Detroit Pistols, huh? Pistons, 1 letter off. With the same colors as Charlie Kirk's book, Right Wing Revolution. That was interesting. But then also look at Detroit. Just move the O and I around. It's like riot, right? People are, in a sense, kind of rioting. You know, it goes back to what you were talking about frequency and people being really emotionally driven by a story like this. And so the next thing I get into here, this is very brief. I got to spend more time on this. But remember, we were talking about bow hunting, right? Bow hunting? Bow hunter?
Right.
Well, you even brought up Biden in your video last night, didn't you? Or 2 days ago.
Yep.
Well, what are the odds that Joe Biden, his sons are named Hunter and Bo?
Yeah, that's like, and again, I told you the guy that interviewed the Hunter guy who was interviewing Charlie when he died, he had an interview with Hunter Biden. So before, so there's this big Hunter theme. So these same names just keep popping up throughout these rituals, you know.
They do, absolutely. And I want to say last week, I would have to go back and watch it, but on our show with Rambo, didn't we talk about the Biden just last week, right before the shooting? The Biden.
Yeah, because we did. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because it is a two-pronged weapon or tool, most famously the spear wielded by the Greek god Hades. That goes back to your fire themes. And it served as a symbol of his authority and a potent weapon in combat and to command the dead. And I just did a quick measurement from when Charlie Kirk's shooting happened back to Hunter Biden's birthday. 7 months, 6 days, just like how Hunter equals 76 in reverse. Hunter also equals 31 in reverse Pythagorean. And we know that that's the date that Charlie was, or that's the age that Charlie was killed. Next, we're going to transition over to a video game I stumbled upon called Arizona Sunshine. It's a survival game. I've never played it, but it is a VR zombie shooter, first-person shooter movie where you play as a lone survivor in a post-apocalyptic Arizona who hears a radio transmission and sets out to find other survivors. What really just screamed at me was that, like we talked about earlier, right? Charlie Kirk is going to be buried in, or I don't know if he'll be buried there, but like his official funeral will be in Arizona, where apparently where he did all of his shows and whatnot. It just kind of surprises me why they wouldn't, and maybe they will, but like he's from Chicago, right? Like why are they doing it in Arizona? Just because he lived there? It's just kind of peculiar. And I looked at the official release date of this game, and it was back on December 26th, which is interesting because that's the date of Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's the superstar of the Bucks in Milwaukee. And it was developed by the Jay Walkers. Makes me think of George Herbert Walker Bush. But besides the point, notice that back to 2016, December 6th, to the date that Charlie was killed, that was exactly 105 months ago. And Arizona Cardinals, who won the game, equals 105. So does Arizona. In the reverse
Charlie
cycle.
Cook 105.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah, Charlie Kirk is being buried in Arizona, which equals 105, like his name. How interesting.
Yep.
Also,
the same
Blood Moon.
That the Arizona Cardinals play in.
Yeah. And Blood Moon equals 105. This happened just after that Blood Moon.
There you go.
It's funny, you know. I said a week before the Blood Moon, I was like, I expect like a pretty decent size sacrifice around, or some sort of ritual around the Blood Moon. There usually always is at least one person, and I think this was it. This was the Blood Moon.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Shout out to Bren again, fading the public, who's been in the chat. I owe it to my paid subscribers to not share much more information, but just keep in mind that we are talking right now on the date named after the moon. And there are certain players in both games tonight that are heavily connected to the moon. And I'll share that with you offline. Maggie says, that Arizona sky burning in your eyes. I look at you and babe, I want to catch on fire. Song from A Star is Born by Lady Gaga. Oh my God.
Huh.
And notice that the sun is the logo of the Arizona flag. And dude, when I first started this channel talking about love and how telling my story about how I went to the University of Arizona and pointing out that Arizona, the state, was founded on Valentine's Day, dude. And here we are.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk getting buried, or his memorial, in Arizona. Like, this was back in like March, bro.
Yeah.
So the last thing I had here for the Arizona Sunshine piece with the 105s, I don't know if you caught this, but notice that Pope Leo and Arizona practically are a Grand Slam match as well. Which makes sense, right? Because Pope Leo was a cardinal.
Yeah, Pope Leo has that 105 too, I guess, huh?
He has practically a Grand Slam match with Arizona.
Yeah.
Home of the Cardinals.
Well, don't forget.
And he was a
Don't
cardinal.
forget, that's a big number that was a big number with Pope Francis too. Pope Francis' full name equals 105 also.
Yep.
So that's the 14th triangular number.
I'm sorry.
I think Masonry.
Yeah, Masonry equals 105, 33, 84, and 39.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a big number with Pope Francis.
Bro,
that's what his real name.
Yeah, Masonry has 3 out of 4 overlap with Arizona. Pope Leo, same thing. That's crazy, dude.
Well, it makes sense because Arizona, the Phoenix degree, I think, is the 33rd degree. So I think that's what it is. The 33rd degree is called the Phoenix degree.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I think that's all connected with that Masonry, the 33rd degree, all the 33s, of course, with this, always 33s.
Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah, there's been a ton of 33s surrounding this story with Charlie Kirk. A ton. My God. And they keep popping up. But yeah, I mean, but back to your point about the neck and George Floyd, I think we touched on this, but just as a reminder, Charlie Kirk has the same birthday as George Floyd. And Charlie Kirk had
doesn't George Floyd's name equal 105 too? I'm pretty sure it does.
Does it?
George Perry Floyd, I think, equals 105.
$102. At least his full name. Yeah, 102.
Hold on. Yeah, maybe it's just a 201. I was. Yeah. Or is it? I could have sworn there was. Nah, it was the George Floyd Jr. equals 75. That was one of the other numbers I was thinking, but I guess the 105 is not with him.
And before I forget it, you were talking about the guy who got charged with arson. I put a comment in your video yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. But wasn't there a guy in Charlotte that got charged? Wasn't it like Charlie something or Carlos something?
No, the guy that got charged with starting a fire was in Charlotte, was named Tyler.
Tyler, right? But Charlotte, the guy in Charlotte, gets charged with arson.
Right. Yeah.
So another play on words, just like how Charlie Rock got fired, right, from Charlotte. So that's amazing stuff, dude.
It's just amazing how this whole ritual has really made me look more at names even more than I already looked at names a lot, but this whole ritual has really made me focus from now on really on the names. Because
yeah, I mean that's why my very first book is called Wordplay. I'm not trying to like plug myself, but anytime people like Maggie, you know, or anybody really in the chat, when they, like last night with the liar, liar, pants on fire, Charlie, like, I love that. You know, like that to me, it's like as soon as you see that connection with the names and phrases that people commonly say, you know that the numbers are going to follow. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I love the wordplay, and I always will. Think about Arizona. Air, we're in the year of plane crashes, right? In the air.
Yeah.
And once again, dude, Arizona sunshine, you know, with all of your work about the Jesuit order and set the world on fire. Well, the sun is a big ball of fire, right? And yeah,
Supposedly.
and the Jesuit, exactly. And the Jesuit logo is the sun, right?
Yeah.
So much more we could say about that, but the last thing I really had here was to talk about the Talmud really quick. Just going back to the number 113. And to give you guys an example of the kind of spiritual and informational warfare that we're in, most people nowadays are going to ask Chat GPT, right? So if you go into Chat GPT and you ask about the Baba Kama 113A, about, you know, and I guess the best way I can keep it simple is that you have the Torah and you have the Talmud, and the Talmud is more of an interpretation of the Torah, right? So this comes from the interpretation book when it comes to Jewish mysticism. But ChatGPT is going to say, no, that this doesn't exist. But if you do research, you'll find it. But this big 113 is a big deal because it essentially says that those that follow the Talmud can, you know, lie to, you know, fulfill their prophecy or whatever you want to call it. And I'm not trying to get super biblical here or controversial. I'm just trying to point out some things. That notice that it's the Talmud, right? It makes me think about muddying the waters. Think about the flooding. I mean, I was sitting in it as it was happening. I was very fortunate that, you know, I didn't get flooded out of my house like Derek. Shout out to Derek, and I hope he's doing well. But, you know, when that happens, it's muddy waters, isn't it? And it makes me think of the Hunger Games, very similar to the Hunter Games. And then what is she holding? A bow and arrow? She's bow hunting, essentially, right? And notice also with what you were talking about, Codes, set the world on fire. Well, if you look at this, you know, cover, Hunger, Hunter, one letter off. The whatever that is that a phoenix? Is that a burning phoenix behind the Hunger Games? You were talking about that last night too.
Well,
or 2 days ago. Sorry.
Well, in the movie, they call it the mocking, or the what is it, the mockingjay? But yeah, it's basically, they didn't call it a phoenix, but that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. So you got the burning themes with the Hunger Games, which is essentially, I haven't even seen them. I haven't even seen this. I need to at some point, but I do understand the premise where it's like they're hunting people. And notice too, did you see this phrase up here at the top? It's really small. The world will be watching.
Yeah.
The world will be watching.
Yeah, because it's the whole hunting, the competition is all a show, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And here's the thing. Here's pretty much the mic drop. This is my conclusion, you guys, is when we talk about the Talmud, Baba Kama 113, it's all about lies and deception, right? Well, what are the odds, you guys, that the Hunger Games first released on March 23rd of 2012? That was the same year that everyone thought the world was going to end because of the Mayan calendar. But measure from 20. Oh, shoot. You know what? Okay. I messed up on this one. I just saw it. I'm sorry, you guys. But from 2016, I mean, you know, it could still be relevant. That was the year that Donald Trump first entered office. But I'm not trying to stretch here. But 113 months from the 2016 anniversary where you get all your 113s. If there's anything to take away from this, if you guys don't know about the number 113, Just have a look. That fake death equals 113. Truman equals 113. Rambo talks a lot about how we're living in the Truman Show. Not factual 113, not true 113, not honest 113, green screen 113, truth 113, illusions 113. And there's a lot more. There's a lot more to that list, but I wanted to keep it simple. So that takes us right back to the top. That's pretty much all I had for today's stream.
Yeah, and just think about the C and the K letters. That's 113. Charlie Kirk, CK.
Wow. Oh wow, dude. Yeah.
It's just inverted. It's just 3. It's in the, if it's in the right order, it's 311. But
Yep. Well, 311. That was also the date that the pandemic was declared, March 11th, 2020. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the reflections are important too.
Yeah, it's the same either way, in my opinion. Because the whole thing with that COVID was, in most of the world, they write that date 113. So,
right. Exactly. So, anyways, yeah, I still got to work on getting the new link for tomorrow's stream with Rambo, eye to eye with AJ Rambo and KODI. Make sure you guys stay tuned.
I'm interested to hear from Rambo about Charlie Kirk. I haven't heard a word from him this week, so interested to see what Rambo has seen with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to see what he says too. And I mean, I'm sure he already knows. I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure he already knows that this happened on Frank the Rabbit's birthday, right? Does he know that yet? Or I think he does.
Well, if he doesn't, then that will blow his mind. And that's literally like what we talked about on Tuesday, the day before this happened.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So we were talking on Tuesday, right? Named after Mercury. No, sorry, Mars, the god of war. And sure enough, we're just seeing things play out. I mean, not to the point where we were like, look out, Charlie Kirk, tomorrow's your day. It wasn't like that, but
well, if we had more time in a day to actually sit down and figure out everything that's going on every day in the world, we probably could have come to a certain conclusion at some point. I mean, it's hard, but if you had enough time, you could have easily saw something like that coming, especially with Charlie Kirk. I mean, he's kind of putting himself in the public all the time, right? So like,
yeah. In your video on Saturday, I think it was someone in your chat where you were talking about Kerr County, right? Like we were just talking about the flooding and things like that happened in Kerr County, which you said sounds a lot like Kirk. I don't think that's a coincidence. That was the biggest news story for like a week in Kerr County, Kerr County.
Yeah, the same initials too. KC again.
Oh, geez, Louise, dude. Exactly. Once again, we are on a scavenger hunt right now. We don't have all the answers, but I think that with your video putting together putting together the puzzle pieces, this is just kind of a spin-off of that, I guess you could say.
The puzzle pieces of the Charles. It was everything was Charles, which is ridiculous. Yeah. That video did well. I have almost 8,500 views on that video.
I saw that just last night. Yeah, just last night I saw you had like 5,000.
Yeah.
And just think about the Hunger Games. It's about the elite, right? The elite hunting, those that aren't in the know, that aren't in the club. Reminds of Murder by Numbers, right? I mean, that whole song, that's exactly what it's about. Killing is the sport of the elite, etc. So
yeah, and with even more, I got even more stuff to talk about. I thought maybe my next video wouldn't be about this Kirk stuff, but I think I'm gonna have to make another one. Charlotte's Web. I've also got an interesting connection to the movie Revolution, and Zach Hubbard has talked about this a lot with the blackout. I think this is also a clue for a blackout because just a sneak peek, and I haven't even found everything there is to find about it yet. I haven't looked anymore, but the movie or the show Revolution, which was about the whole world losing power, the devices go out, came out in 2012. Well, that movie or that show takes place in Carolina. It was shot in Carolina, but the original part of that show is in Chicago. And the whole main character of that show is a girl named Charlie. So I really think there's something more there. I haven't been able to look more into it. Last night, I was sleeping last night. It was weird. I was sleeping. I woke up to take a drink, and the first thing I heard in my head was like Charlie, the device or something. And I was like, wait, what is this? It like came to me oddly. And I was like, wait. So I woke up in the middle of the night, heard something in my head like Charlie. And I was like, wait, wasn't Charlie the name of the girl in Revolution, the blackout show? And I look it up, I go on there and I see her Charlie. But not only did I see Charlie, I saw Chicago and I saw Carolina. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we just had all this stuff with Carolina. And then we had, obviously, Kirk is from Chicago. And so I was like, wow, there's definitely something there. And considering that we're still waiting patiently for this cyber attack or EMP attack, which I believe is coming at some point. Klaus Schwab said the next pandemic will be a cyber pandemic. So when is that going to be? Or is this just another clue towards that?
I couldn't agree more. Bren, shout out to you. Yep, Pope from Chicago as well. First American Pope. Once again, I'm not going to give too much away here. For those of you that might not be aware, call this a stretch by any means. That's fine. I don't care. But when I'm thinking about Charlie, I think of Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Cheer up, Charlie, right? Things like that. Well, what are the odds that Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, the newest one with Johnny Depp, kind of makes me think of the flooding stuff, like the depths. But it was July 10th. The blood moon this year peaked on July 10th. This year, July 10th, the date written 10/7. Today, as I'm speaking right now, leaves 107 days remaining in the year. And the word shooting, 107 and 109. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory releases on 10/7. Charlie gets shot on 10/9. I had to throw that in there. So.
That 107 has been big, of course, but today is Prince Harry's birthday, and Prince Harry was the one who was meeting with Charles the day of the shooting. And I've seen a lot of connections in gematria with this being very, very tied to Prince Harry. Let's put it that way. And his name is Charles. His middle name is Charles, also Prince Harry.
Of course.
So, but don't forget, Prince William's daughter's name is Charlotte. And and here's another one too. You have no idea how many Charleses there are in history. There's so many, man. So many King Charles and Emperor Charles. One of the most famous ones is Charlemagne. And then the other one is, so here I'll leave with this for the Charles. The funeral of Charles Kirk is going to be on the death anniversary of Charles V, the Roman emperor, who was brought into power by a pope named Leo.
Oh my God, dude.
So, and if you look into history, a lot of these Charles kings, they're all connected with Pope Leos. Like, I've seen at least 2 or 3 already that, like, King Charles or Emperor Charles in history, the Pope during their time that they worked with was a Pope Leo. So this is a pattern, Leo and Charles.
I got one more for you, and we'll close it with this. There's a reason why I liked Saquon Barkley of the Eagles yesterday to score. He was he scored in the first 20 seconds of the game, from what I saw. Why? Because it made me think of Charles Barkley. What is he best known for? Playing for the Suns.
Oh, yeah.
His time with the Suns. It was 207 days after his birthday. Charles equals 207 in Latin Jewish. And I believe the rest of his time spent in the NBA was with the Trail Blazers. Blaze, fire, Suns, fire, Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Like you see what I'm saying? Charlie, Kirk, Charles, like it was, yeah. So that, I mean, that happened like immediately to start that game. Of course,
This
against the Chiefs, which represent the sun, etc.
and you know how you sent me that tweet before the game. They posted it's always sunny in Kansas City.
Yeah, yeah.
But then
Yep.
it got me thinking, you know, like they lost. So the normal phrase, it's always sunny in Philadelphia. So the sun was actually on the side of the sun was actually on the side of Philadelphia yesterday. That was the riddle.
It was.
And you know what makes sense about that is that remember the symbol of the eagle is a symbol of Jupiter, Zeus. And Zeus can be conflated as the son of Saturn, right? So there's a Jupiter thing there, in fact. But I'm not going to get into that now. I'm just saying that I'm just letting you know because I think that has to do with the eagle. And don't forget the guy who was wearing the eagle shirt. He was the one who shot Charlie Kirk. So I think that was also a clue for Kansas City losing. Of course, we thought they were probably going to win because of the sun stuff, but I don't know. It looks like Kansas City might not be going to have a good year. But there's always the narrative that they could make them look completely down and out of it, and then they perform a miraculous comeback. So
yeah, I saw a shout out to Hitalick Sports. He posted something that came out from like ESPN or something. There's only 3 or 4 other NFL teams that have won the Super Bowl after starting 0-2. So I wouldn't take Kansas City out of the equation yet. I think a lot of people already are. I think that's part, once again, of the deception. But as far as like, you know, looking into them for the next several weeks, I'm going to stay away from Chiefs games, man.
Well, you know what's super interesting too, just to hit the last point on the NFL. I mean, I expected the Eagles to do well because usually the Super Bowl winning team always has a good season the next year. I've never really ever seen a Super Bowl winner have a bad season the next year. They always have a good
except in Donnie Darko. Except in Donnie Darko, the Commanders, the Redskins.
But this year it's really interesting, you know, what's going on because a lot of people, and especially in the decoding community, they were all over Joe Burrow in the Bengals, but now Joe Burrow might be out the whole season.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll see because of a toe injury.
Yeah. So let's see where that goes. But I mean, it's going to take a lot for the Bengals to get back in, unless somehow whoever the backup is, I forget his name now, but you know, if he gets them to this playoffs and then Joe Burrow comes back during the playoffs, I don't know. But the team that's, again, I think is going to surprise people, and it's a team I grew up liking, and the team that no one thought was going to do that well this year is the Colts. And now all of a sudden they're 2-0, and they have this guy, Daniel Jones, which I'll talk more about probably coming out of the year, but he's definitely coded in to this Super Bowl next year. And it doesn't mean they're going to go. It could also be a clue for Baltimore because Baltimore is the Colts are the team from Baltimore originally. So
there you go. And the Raven represents death.
Yeah. That. But the team I'm still on the most in the AFC is the Bills. I think it might be Josh Allen's year. Like they got to get him in a Super Bowl at some point. That's the way I see it.
This whole thumbnail screams Bills colors, doesn't it?
And don't forget, Josh Allen is from Fireball. He's from a city. He's from a city called Fireball.
Oh, you got to be kidding me, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and, you know, like I just would not suspect that they're gonna keep. I just would not. If Mahomes and the Chiefs are not going to be in it this year for the 4th straight year, which I still think is possible, I just don't see how they can keep the other 2 golden boys out, either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. I just feel like one of those 2 guys has got to get to a Super Bowl at some point, and this year might be the year. I don't know.
Could be something to think about. I mean, the Raven is just another spin-off of an eagle. So there's those bird themes. It's a bird. It's a plane. We're in the year of plane crashes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of things to think about with that kind of stuff, for sure. Absolutely. I wanted to make sure that Mr. S got a little credit here. I don't know if you knew this. I certainly didn't. Trump is meeting with King Charles on Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. I shared that in my video 2 videos ago.
Okay.
It's tomorrow, right? Or no?
No, man, we got eye to eye on Tuesdays, brother.
No, but I
Catch
thought it
you
was
tomorrow.
supposed. But the reason I'm saying that is because I thought that it was supposed to be on the 7th or the 6th, or I think they changed it to the 16th. That's why I thought it was tomorrow, Tuesday.
Oh, gotcha.
But that guy said Wednesday, so maybe it is Wednesday, or maybe it's both days because. But it would be perfect though too, because Wednesday is a day of Mercury, and didn't the Charlie shooting happen on a Wednesday too? Right.
Sure did. Yeah.
So it's a Mercury thing, man. He died 666 Mercuries after Lincoln on a Mercury day, on a Wednesday, and we just had the new series Wednesday release, which is all about the Ravens, by the way. The show Wednesday is all
Oh yeah,
about
I mean
Ravens.
the colors alone are just like black and purple mainly, right?
Yeah, and then the whole show's based off The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, exactly. I guess in closing, Mr. S is on fire right now. Lions is a big clue. Goff's I didn't know this. Goff's born SS. I don't know what SSMS means. Same. I'm guessing he said same. Goff
Yeah.
born same day as Charlie Kirk. Huh.
Wait, okay. Really? Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. I knew that, but I was like, wow. Yeah, God does have the same birthday as him.
That's crazy, dude. Wow. Shout out Bren. Buffalo Bills born on February 26th. Super Bowl in 2026. And is on February 8th, 2 + 6. And one of the most famous figures of the American Old West. He was a bison hunter. Huh. Back to the Future 3 is all about the West. Good point. Great addition there. Don't forget, you guys, with this whole hunting theme, right? Cody, you and I have talked about this. Next year is the year of the horse. So another farm animal, so to speak, hunting animal, so to speak. Hunters are riding horses, right?
Yeah.
You know, not all the time, but you get my point.
Well, and the Super Bowl is still in the year of the snake, but it's just a few days before the horse, which is why I'm saying to watch for the Colts, because they keep giving the last time they also said that the last time the Colts were started the season 2-0, they went to the Super Bowl, and they just started 2-0. The people keep saying that, and then you got the big famous talking head Pat McAfee, who's a Colts. I mean, if you've ever seen Pat McAfee, he's all about the Colts, and he's been saying the Colts are going to the Super Bowl for the first 2 weeks. He keeps saying that, and what's interesting is you know who Daniel Jones? You know where Daniel Jones is from, right? Charlotte.
I don't. I haven't looked into him very much.
Charlotte. And you know who Jim Irsay's daughter is, who now runs the team, right? Her name is Carly, which is Charles.
Jeez Louise, Codes.
So this whole thing with the Colts being good the first 2 weeks is all about Charlotte and goes back to the Charles thing.
Yeah.
So,
and shout out Maggie, shout out Adam the Illusion. He's been talking a lot about, you know, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. He does great work when it comes to the Bible. Things definitely worth considering. But yeah, I kind of want to wrap it up here. My wife should be getting home any minute. So I want her to build that trust in me that I can stick to my my time cues. But we'll close it out with some shout outs here. Bella, Crazy, Natasha, The Wicked Web We Weave. Yep. I mean, that's what we're doing on a scavenger hunt, right? We're expanding the web of everything that's going on. Rambo talks a lot about that.
I mean, everything we do is on the web. So it's a very important.
Oh, yeah. Like we're literally on the web going down the different parts of the web.
Is part of the web.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bella. I really appreciate it. She says, you guys amaze me. I don't even think you guys realize how much you guys prepare our minds in a roundabout way. Gifted. Very much appreciated, Bella. Very much so. I know you put a comment in here earlier too, Bella. I'm trying to find it back. Here we go. I haven't seen the likes yet, but are we really sitting at 14 likes? I mean, come on, you guys. Come on. Can we get a little love over here? I mean, we do this for you guys. Yeah. We're passionate about this. You know, granted, Cody, you have a much bigger following than I do, so I'm sure that there would be a lot more people watching if it was hosted on your page. But I didn't even know you were going to join today. But I'm very, very thankful that you were able to carve out the time and join me, because so much of what I shared today stemmed off of the last video that you posted that I was watching last night. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Codes, very much.
Well, we have 42 in the chat and 23 likes right now. So let's see if we can get to, let's at least get to 30 by the time the stream's over, guys. Come on.
Yeah. This should have 500 likes, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like Zach, I guess. I'm just saying, like, come on, man. You know what? It doesn't cost anything to hit that like, or the subscribe. It's very much appreciated, but only if you guys think it's deserved.
I just sometimes I don't even know if it really matters because I realize that if you're looking at ratios between views and likes, it always stays around the same. Like, it's almost like YouTube keeps a certain ratio, and then because I've seen YouTube take away my likes, I've watched it. I've watched my likes get taken away in real time. Just sat there, and I'll have like 150, and then all of a sudden I'm down to 140. Like, I've seen between 5 and 10 likes just drop off before.
But it's definitely
It's almost like it's almost like it's to keep it at a certain ratio, views to likes, like a certain ratio. Like, because if you look at everyone else's videos, it's also about the same. Like, everyone else, it's always about the same ratio of views to like. Because you're saying that most people just sit around and lurk. Like, all these people that are watching my videos, for instance, like, they just sit around and watch my videos every time I put them out because I get the same amount of views every time. But only 300 to 400 people like it every day, but I get 2,000 to 3,000 views. So what's the other 1,000 or 2,000 people doing? They're just sitting around lurking. They don't like it. They're just being quiet in the back and doing nothing. I just don't understand it. But
I think Tristan brings up a great point. I really do feel this way. It's YouTube playing with us in the sense that, who are we to say that those likes and the amount of subs and all that, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, on my end with Instagram, bro, I've been plateaued at, 10K followers essentially for almost a year at this point. But yet with the Charlie stuff, I had between two videos, it was like almost 250,000 views, and I got like 10 followers.
that's crazy.
Like, make that make sense, and then I end up losing 8 of them a day or two. It's like, my point is with what Tristan's saying, like, who's not to say that all of the numbers that we're seeing, I see 41 people watching right now. How do I know that for sure? How do I know that? The only way that's the only thing I can go off of is what YouTube is telling me.
Well, I mean, how many times have I been on a live stream and been talking about a number, and then that's the amount of people that's in my stream? I've shown that hundreds of times.
Yes.
I've shown that hundreds of times on my videos. Constantly.
Exactly my point. Yes, exactly, dude. So that's what I'm saying. You got to take all the numbers with a grain of salt. I mean, really, the only thing that I know is pretty constant is I can see the time, how long we've been on, just following the time. But everything else, who knows? There could be 10 people watching right now. It says there's 43, but who knows? Maybe there's 700. Who knows? There's no way of knowing, I guess is my whole point. But without further ado, we're going to wrap it up here. Kodi, very pleasant surprise to see you jump in the chat and you having the time to jump on with me. I think it made the presentation that much more fruitful, especially since a lot of it did tie back into what you touched on just 2 days ago. And I know you've been on the Charlie Kirk stuff since it broke. I am, just like you, very excited to pick Rambo's brain tomorrow night on Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Kodi. I got a strong feeling he's going to throw something at us that none of us have been talking about. So
yeah, Rambo always does that. So I'm expecting that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you again very much, Kodi, for jumping in. I love and appreciate you like a brother.
Thank you, man.
It's all about that brotherly love, right? Yep. And anything else you wanted to say before we close out?
No, just thanks for having me on, and look forward to tomorrow. And thanks to everyone in the chat as usual. And I don't know, maybe I'll get something out tonight, or maybe I'll get out a video tomorrow before our live stream. I want to get out another video in the next 2 days. So just look for that. I'll probably have something for you guys today or tomorrow. So
I'm looking forward to it, man. As long as I got time, I'll make sure to do it. It's as you know, it's tough to keep up with Rambo's videos, your videos, Adam's videos, putting my content together, doing the Patreon, having my full-time job, you know, and making time for myself and my family and Cooper and all that kind of stuff. So I just appreciate this community that you've brought to me as well. You guys are amazing. You guys are seriously amazing. And we love you all very, very much. And without further ado, we'll close it out with our new favorite song. Peace, ballers. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
88992, if you didn't know, forever exploring the interdimensional primordial. Historian moratorium, just hanging around, telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean.